And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Motherfucker easy, man. Cakewalk, easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude, but it's nothing. Do Wanui deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. Do Terence Crawford deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. But what about Gervonta Tank Davis?
I don't really think Canelo a real 168 pounder. So who knows how much does this actually factor in this situation? That's the whole key point. And also,
no, but Bud is amazing. He's just, him and his whole team are just dope. But Bud's an amazing guy. But forget all that. He's talented in the ring.
Floyd Mayweather has thrown his full support behind Terence Crawford, confidently backing him to dismantle Canelo Alvarez in a potential super fight, sending shockwaves through the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez has sparked major debate in the boxing world after boldly stating that Terence Crawford is a more intelligent and complete fighter than the legendary Floyd Mayweather Jr. This unexpected take from the Mexican superstar has divided fans and drawn sharp reactions from several key voices in the sport, including Mayweather himself, his uncle Jeff Mayweather, and other top fighters and analysts.
People look at this fight and compare it to Mayweather's fight. You think Mayweather is like Canelo? Or Mayweather is like Crawford? Or may use the same game plan?
I don't know. I don't really know. But, you know, I put that fight in other place right now. I think Crawford is a little better than Mayweather. But Canelo have more experience right now. No, and I think it's totally other fight. I don't want to compare this fight with other fights. I think this fight is one of the best fights in the boxing history, and that's it.
Floyd Mayweather, who remains one of boxing's most dominant defensive fighters and an undefeated icon, was quick to speak his mind. In an interview with Fight Hype, Mayweather dismissed the hype surrounding Canelo and made it clear how he viewed their 2013 matchup. He described his win over Canelo as effortless, claiming it was a cakewalk. Despite being almost 40 years old at the time, Mayweather said Canelo posed no real threat in the ring and insisted the fight was easy for him. He criticized the high praise Canelo receives, saying that he was nothing when they fought and questioned the level of admiration fans show him today.
And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Motherfucker easy, man. Cakewalk, easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude, but it's nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting.
When it comes to Crawford, however, Mayweather has shown more respect. He went on record saying that, in his opinion, Terence Crawford is currently the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. That statement alone holds weight, especially considering Mayweather's high standards and deep knowledge of the game.
Do Wanui deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. Do Terence Crawford deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. What about Gervonta Tank Davis?
Undisputed heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk has added his voice to the growing conversation around a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez super fight, and he's leaning toward Bud. Speaking with thoughtful insight, Usyk admitted the matchup is an incredibly tough call. It's a 50-50 fight, he said, acknowledging the strength, experience, and danger Canelo brings at 168 pounds. But when pressed on who he'd back, Usyk revealed he favors Crawford.
Definitely Canelo Crawford.
Very hard. 50-50. For me, pound for pound, #1 is Terence Crawford.
This opinion didn't sit well with Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, and a respected voice in the sport. Jeff pushed back on Canelo's remarks, saying that Canelo's praise for Crawford might not be as genuine as it seems. He believes Canelo is simply trying to hype up Crawford to make his next challenge look more impressive. According to Jeff, it's common for fighters to talk up their future opponents, especially if it means indirectly boosting their own legacy. He explained that by saying Crawford is better than Mayweather, Canelo might be trying to make it seem like beating Crawford would be an even bigger achievement than it actually is.
Maybe it is. I mean, but one thing is this. You would always say that somebody that already beat you is better than the person that you're fighting because you want to make yourself look like you're going to beat somebody that's better than everybody.
Jeff Mayweather also addressed the idea that Floyd was at his peak when he fought Canelo, while Canelo was still green. He strongly disagreed with that view, pointing out that Canelo had more fights on his record at the time than Floyd did. Jeff reminded fans that Floyd was already 36 years old when they fought, hardly the age of a fighter in his prime. In his opinion, a boxer's prime typically falls in their 20s, not in their mid to late 30s.
And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Yeah, very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
When asked whether Crawford truly is more intelligent and defensively sound than Floyd, Jeff conceded that Crawford might be as smart, but he denied that Crawford's defense surpasses Floyd's. For Jeff, it's clear that Mayweather's defensive mastery remains unmatched, even by someone as talented as Crawford.
I think that in order to make himself look like he beat someone that's better than Floyd, of course he's going to say all these great things about him, and then that makes him bigger than what he is.
Boxing analyst and former fighter Brian Norman recently weighed in on the much-discussed potential matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Norman acknowledged that the weight difference between the two is a significant factor that can't be ignored. Crawford, who has dominated in lower weight classes, would be moving up significantly to face Canelo at 168 pounds, a division Canelo has held titles in. However, Norman made an interesting point that stirred debate. He argued that Canelo, while successful at 168 pounds, isn't truly a great super middleweight.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was at 47, right? Not like
That was gonna be at 47. That was gonna be at 147 for unification and all of
it. It's too bad, but I think you're young, he's young. Like, eventually, paths cross when two fighters keep winning, and I think I have a good feeling that you guys are gonna eventually go and face each other down the road.
Sure, I feel like that's in God's plan.
Very, very true. Hey, I know you have a high IQ with boxing, and you're very studious.
Former middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs recently shared his thoughts on a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Jacobs, who has been in the ring with Canelo and has known Crawford for years, offered a unique perspective on the matchup. While Jacobs made it clear he respects Canelo's accomplishments and skill set, he didn't hold back in expressing his belief in Crawford.
Well, I didn't have time in sparring, but I had at least over 15 years of knowing him, amateur, professional. I've seen where he started. I've seen how he's gotten better over time, but I also just know what resides in him. He's a dog, he's a beast, and he's out to prove something too. So I'm excited about this fight. Canelo obviously is self-explanatory. There's really no need to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to him, but I do see this being as a 50-50 fight. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on Crawford, but also too, you can't count Canelo out. I mean, would go in, I'm assuming, as the favorite, which is rightfully so.
But this does not stop here, as even Crawford's reflexes have become a topic of debate. A recent friendly slapboxing clip with Nico Ali Walsh, Muhammad Ali's grandson, sparked discussions about whether the aging Crawford still possesses the same quickness that has defined much of his career. In the playful exchange, both fighters took turns landing light taps and joking around. While it was all in good fun, some onlookers used it as a subtle hint that Crawford might not be as sharp as he once was, especially heading into a fight where razor-sharp reflexes could make the difference between winning and getting caught by a Canelo power shot.
Okay, that's one. Shut up! You're going to 5. We're going to 5. I got you. No, man, come on. We got each other. No, I said shoulder body. No, you're lying.
Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of boxing legend Muhammad Ali, has publicly voiced his support for Terence Crawford ahead of a potential super fight with Canelo Alvarez. In a recent interview, Ali Walsh didn't hold back his admiration for Crawford, stating clearly, "I'm Team Bud all the way." He went on to describe Crawford's athleticism and ring IQ as something out of the history books, suggesting that Crawford's legacy is already cemented and that a win over Canelo would only solidify his place among the all-time greats.
I'm Team Bud. I'm Team Bud all the way. You know that
you have to be after he gave you them bits of advice.
No, but Bud is amazing. He's just, him and his whole team are just dope. But Bud's an amazing guy. But forget all that. He's talented in the ring. He's you know, people only talk about greats when they leave the sport, but he's one of the greats that will be talked about for years to come, and he's still fighting. So we gotta, you know, appreciate the fights that we're watching now with him.
Calling Terence Crawford extremely strong, Showbiz the Adult went on to break down the footage of Crawford putting down a heavyweight nerd named Nico from a high position. Analyzing the moment frame by frame, he was stunned by Crawford's raw power and technique, emphasizing that such strength from a naturally smaller fighter isn't normal. The breakdown convinced him even further that Crawford isn't just skilled, he's physically gifted in ways that defy weight class expectations.
Listen, bro. It's because it's a boxing match, okay? And it's not wrestling. But when you look at his footage, he tossed Nico to the ground from a standing position. From a clinching position, he tosses down a heavyweight. The type of position you're clinching in a boxing match. Brother, Terence Crawford is extremely strong. The guy is extremely strong.
Outside the Mayweather camp, there are others who strongly back Crawford. One of them is former heavyweight champion Shannon Briggs. Briggs is a passionate supporter of the Omaha-born fighter and believes Crawford will not just win, but stop Canelo. He expects Crawford to outbox the Mexican champion, using his ability to fight in both stances and trick his opponent in the later rounds. Briggs pointed out that Canelo has been outboxed before and believes Crawford's slick style and versatility could spell trouble for him this time around.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I got Crawford by stoppage, and I've known him since he was a little kid, 12 years old. So to see him now fighting for a title is such a big fight. It's a great experience, great to see.
Last question from me then. How do you think Crawford stops him? How do you think he's able to work Canelo enough for him to stop the fight, drop, knock him down? How do you think this is possible by Crawford style?
He gonna box him. He can fight both ways. He gonna trick him up. One thing Canelo showed is that he can be outboxed. But I think this time in the late rounds, I think Crawford gonna have something for him.
Edgar Berlanga, who faced Canelo in 2024 and was thoroughly outclassed, also gave his thoughts on the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford. While Berlanga clearly couldn't match Canelo's skill when they fought, he still believes Crawford has a real shot at pulling off a surprise victory. He praised Crawford's talent, saying the American has to rely on his ring IQ and prove once again why he's been able to dominate across multiple weight divisions.
First of all, he got to go in there. He just got to fight him, you know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do, you know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, show his IQ, show him why he's a two-time undisputed, world champion, and go in there with confidence, you know what I'm saying?
However, Berlanga didn't shy away from acknowledging the biggest concern, the weight difference. For Berlanga, the jump in weight that Crawford would need to make could be the most challenging part of the fight. He likened the situation to himself trying to jump to the heavyweight division, a task that could be unrealistic and even dangerous.
That's all it is, it's a big weight difference, a big weight jump, that could be a difference in the fight, because obviously, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a feel the power, I'm a feel that size difference, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses.
He also noted that Crawford's toughest test came recently against Israel Madrimov, where Crawford took more damage than he's used to. That kind of punishment raises questions about how he'll handle someone as experienced and powerful as Canelo.
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it, you know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, obviously the power. and Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a lot much bigger guys, you know? So I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
The conversation surrounding this fight is unique in that it's not dominated by just one storyline. Some believe Crawford's supreme technical ability will be enough. Others argue that size and power will eventually break him down. And then there are those who want to see the upset simply for the sake of shaking up the sport, even if they don't believe it will happen. One thing is clear, both men have the skills and the mental toughness to win. What remains uncertain is whether Crawford can overcome the physical disadvantages and rise above the natural weight gap.
That's not easy for Crawford. I mean, it's Canelo has the big advantage, but Crawford needs to manage well his body, his speed, and his power, because he's moving up to another level of weight.
While Crawford's resume is stacked with wins, this leap into the super middleweight division is uncharted territory. His confidence, ring IQ, and precision are undeniable, but Canelo has spent years getting comfortable at 168 and knows how to use his body to wear opponents down. That difference in comfort and familiarity could play a significant role, especially in the later rounds if the fight turns into a grueling battle of attrition.
Well, I would say Crawford wins the fight based off of the skill set. That's the first and foremost. I think the biggest worry for me when it comes to that is just the size difference, because obviously great Mike Tyson said, you know, you have a game plan until you actually get in there and you get hit, and then that changes the whole outcome of the fight. So I'm hoping that he's able to endure what Canelo's gonna bring, but I think he has the skill set to be able to be like eluding all of the big shots and hit, not get hit. What does brother Nassim say? He has the most famous quote, swim without getting wet.
With legends, champions, and rising stars all backing Terence Crawford, the buzz around a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez is only getting louder. From Daniel Jacobs' respect to Usyk's pound-for-pound praise, and even Nico Ali Walsh calling it a legacy-defining moment, the message is clear. Crawford isn't just coming to compete, he's coming to conquer. Let us know in the comments, who you got, Canelo or Crawford? Drop your predictions, break down the fight, and join the conversation below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the biggest stories in boxing. More fight analysis, fighter reactions, and insider takes coming your way. Stay tuned.